Hi everyone, this is Bill MacDonald, and today I'm going to be the Come On Sense math doctor, using the 5 senses to teach math visually, verbally, auditorily, and kinesthetically. So your kids will see, say, hear, listen, and do things to help them connect to math skills. So if you are a reading teacher watching this and you have a math teacher friend who's not aware of my math group called Come, C-O-M-E, On Sense, as in one of the 5 senses, math, type those words in the Facebook search engine. You can join the club, and I'll be spending the rest of my summer as people share with me screenshots, or if they are a parent and want help tutoring their child. I'm going to show you a way, and usually when I do strategies, I try to think, what is the easiest way to get this skill across? And the percent correct on the question that I'm going to show you across the state was only 20%, which means only 1 out of every 5 students got this question correct. It was a 4th grade question on this past May's test for math. And so I'm going to take you through my suggested strategies. I'm not trying to sell you anything here. I'm just wanting to be able to guide you on what was it that could have been done differently to help the student have success with a problem like this one. So let me share with you, like I said, a way, not the way, to teach this question. As you can see, it was number 23 on the 4th grade test from May of 2022. And I'm going to give you a suggested guideline on what your kids could do. The first thing, I'm going to make it in white over here. I'm going to use up the space so I can keep my space free. I'm writing the word rules. And since I can't see it, I better make sure I spell it correctly. L-E-S, there we go. Okay, whoops. Push R, return, U, return, L, return, E, return, S. Let's see if that came out. I have to make some changes. There we go. Put in capital E. I didn't have to do that. I put a period, sorry. But the rules stand for read the question, okay? Or read the problem, whether it's reading, math, social studies, science, editing, revising. There's always going to be a passage or a paragraph or a problem. And then there'll be a question. So the idea is that your students are going to read, in this case, the problem and the question, or the question, then the problem, then the question again. They should underline in both places, label in both places, evaluate what strategies that they need. That way they can execute them. And then what we'll be doing, because this is multiple choice, we're going to be eliminating 3 answers. We'll select one. And since this is just a screenshot, I'm going to have to kind of fill it in like you would a bubble. You would select one in the booklet and then search for errors, double check that you show why it's correct, and you can submit and then move on. And when you're done with the whole test, submit. So 20% is not a very good number, okay? And what it involves, it had to do with your students only having to understand one thing. They had to go to their mathematics chart and be able to do a conversion from quarts to cups to answer it. And so if only 20% are getting it correct, what is it that they didn't get that made it so hard? So let's make something very rigorous extremely simple, shall we? So we have to follow the directions. So let's read the problem and we'll underline and label any keywords. There's 3 quarts. I'm gonna do it in black so you guys can see it better. There's 3 quarts of water. I'm also gonna let me undo that, those last 2. I'm going to make it just a little bit thicker for you so you can see my lines clearly. There we go. There were 3 quarts of water, okay, in a container. So they're in one container. A student poured 1 quart, 3 cups of the water into the sink. Okay, so that means that it's leaving the container, if you were to imagine. So one thing that you might have your kids do, which will always help, is what I call the acronym ARMS. What does ARMS mean? ARMS can be 2 things. Actors, remember, more, sequence. In other words, you physically act out the details that they're telling you in the problem one by one. Or if a picture paints 1,000 words, well, then let me take these 100 words and turn them into a picture. Artists remember, more, sequence. What is the order of things that happen drawing a picture? So if your students would have drawn a picture of, excuse me, what they were being told, they would have had a much easier time answering this question. So let's go ahead and take a look at the questions, the question now. And some kids are going to ask you, Miss, which one's the question? And you'll say, sweetheart, the one with the question mark. All right. So the keywords of the question, every keyword has numbers. So what was the amount of water in quarts and cups? So you watch my hand, quarts and cups. That means our keywords are different. So there's always a conversion rate that has to happen. And if kids don't know conversions, then they're going to struggle. But if you make it easier for them to understand the conversion, then they'll have an easier time. So the keywords here is was left, okay? Quarts and cups, how much left? Because if I started with 3 quarts and I threw away one of those quarts and 3 cups from the quarts, then I'm going to have an understanding of what that might look like. So the next thing I'm going to suggest you do is say, okay, let's remember our conversion. Let's go to our conversion chart that says 1 quart equals 4 cups. So if you can remember that, that's great. But a lot of kids struggle so much with conversions that we need to stop focusing so much on the keywords and look at the numbers. Whenever you're going, as you can see here, from a smaller number quarts, a little number, to a big number, then you're going to multiply to get your conversion. Also, you can think of the acronym love big meals. When? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So if you were doing the opposite, let me show you. If you were doing the opposite and saying, oh, I'm not going from a little number to a big number in my conversion where I multiply, I'm going from a big number to a little number, so I need to divide. Well, apparently kids didn't know how to do that. But if you can say, let me just draw a picture of what this looks like for every quart having 4 cups, this is what I think would have been a good idea to do. So I'm going to draw 3 circles on here. See if I can do it. All right. And unfortunately, I can't get them to be exactly the same because I don't have a copy and paste mode in this that I can see. So please forgive me if my circles don't look all exactly the same. All right. So each one of those is 1 quart. All right. So we should probably label that. So that we can understand what we're looking at there. There's 1 quart. Lowercase to make it easier. There is another quart. And there's your last quart. Why did I do that? Because it said he has 3 quarts of water. So if the conversion rate says, for every one of these quarts, if I multiply, well, then let's just multiply doing a drawing like this, okay? There, for every single one of those quarts, there's 4 cups. So there's the 4 cups that go into that quart. Here is 4 cups that go into the second quart. And it doesn't look like a nice circle. Yeah, you get the idea. There's the 4 cups that goes into that quart. So I was multiplying times 4. So that means that we have 4 times 3. We have technically 12 cups in there. But that's kind of a hard thing to do. So let's just do what they asked us to do. It said he poured 1 quart. So let's go ahead and let's break that apart in our head. He poured 1 quart. So that means I'm going to get rid of that one. He poured 1 quart and 3 cups. 1 cup, 2 cups, and 3 cups into the sink. So the question just asks you, how much is left? Well, I can see in quarts and cups, I either have 5 quarts left, which is not there, or I have 1 quart and I have 1 cup, because every little piece of that circle represents 1 cup. So I'm going to make sure that I remember, all that's left is 1 cup from that quart. So how much left? You subtract. That's called difference. That's a minus sign. Difference. You subtract. Cool. So your kids had to do multiplication and then several steps. They might have struggled with this kind of a problem, but as you can see, the only answer that matches what I've got left is the 1 quart and the 1 cup. And so if I was clicking my answer, all I've got to do is submit my answer. And so I'll just draw a little circle right here that I'm submitting letter D, and that's pretty much it. So maybe take a screenshot of this and remember a couple of things that I had said that are going to be important concepts whenever you're doing conversions without having to do all these extra fancy steps. A couple of things you might want to think about is when you're going from little to big in the number, in the conversion, trying to find out how many cups are in one quart. Little to big, multiply. Love big meals. Big to little, divide. Or you could say breakfast, lunch, dinner, since we all like food. Okay. The other thing was either actors, remember more sequence, or artists, remember more sequence. So using your arms to help you understand problems like this, because in my opinion, whatever we were teaching the kids that caused them to get 20% correct in the whole state, it was probably too difficult of a way to teach it than this way that says, you know what, if I just draw a picture, it makes it a lot easier to understand. So do me a favor, I'm going to clear all my drawings. If you teach math, then you're great. You already watched it. If you are a parent and a teacher of any subject that has already been released to the portal for the parents, or you're a district coordinator that has access to the codes, then feel free to message me. On these videos, I can't try to sell you anything. I can just try to help you. And so I just wanted to show you a way to teach conversions, and that concept can work with any conversion regardless of what conversion you're making, because too many kids are focusing more on the keywords than what's happening with the numbers that go with those keywords. And again, it's not the way, but it's a way. And I could guarantee you that a lot more kids are going to get the question correct, or one like this, than 20% using whatever method was being used, because this is, again, a statewide percentage. It wasn't just one campus or one district. So please, I beg of you, do me a favor, share this with any of your math teacher friends. If you're not a math teacher, share it with your math teacher friends. If you are a math teacher, whether you are or not, there's some people that just want a new way to teach an old skill called conversions. And that's what I would do. Feel free to join my Common Sense Math Club. I am a math minor, so I do major in the minors. I do focus a lot. I do a lot of trainings in every subject area, but it's just, I think that we're doing so many worksheets, we're forgetting that we need to also use sheets that work, and that means come off the paper and make things visual, verbal, auditory, and kinesthetic, so the kid can see, say, hear, listen, and then they can think how to do something in a way that their teacher has taught them, that will be able to allow them to do that E of rules, to execute the strategy. And one more, extending beyond that problem, if you were to say, oh, they only got rid of 1.5. Well, half of a quart is 2 cups. So they would just subtract 2 of the little pieces of those circles instead of subtracting 3, if that makes sense. So God bless, take care, and hope you're enjoying your summer.